Leonor's own choice. Would she give up the throne? One day, perhaps years from now, Spain could wake up to a sentence no one ever truly expected to read. Princess Leonor has chosen to give up her right to the throne. No scandal, no coup, no constitutional collapse. Just a decision, quiet, personal, and devastatingly powerful. In that moment, the story of the Spanish monarchy would change forever, not because it was overthrown, but because its future queen chose another path. Princess Leonor de Borbón y Ortiz has been raised with one certainty stamped onto every chapter of her life: she is meant to be queen. The crown has hovered above her since birth, invisible yet ever present. Her education, her public appearances, her discipline, even her silences have been shaped by an assumption that she did not choose but inherited. Yet modern history has taught us something uncomfortable and undeniable: royal destiny is no longer absolute. In a world that increasingly values personal freedom, mental health, authenticity, and choice, the question is no longer unthinkable. Would Leonor give up the throne, of her own free will? This article explores that question deeply, carefully, and honestly. Not as rumor or speculation, but as a reflection of modern monarchy, individual autonomy, and a young woman standing at the intersection of history and personal choice. 1. A crown before consciousness. Princess Leonor was born on October 31, 2005, into a role already written. Unlike ordinary children, she did not grow into expectations, they grew around her. From infancy, she was photographed as a symbol, discussed as a future institution, educated with a singular endpoint in mind. When her father, Felipe VI, became king in 2014, Leonor was just 9 years old. Overnight, she became heir apparent, and with that title came a life that was no longer entirely her own. Every step forward, from schooling to speech, from posture to expression, was shaped by one idea: this girl will one day reign. But here lies the first crack in the idea of inevitability. Leonor did not choose this life. And what is inherited without consent can later be questioned with courage. 2. The modern shift. Royals are no longer trapped. For centuries, monarchy was a prison disguised as privilege. Royals could not leave without causing chaos, exile, or war. Abdication was rare and often forced. That is no longer true. In the 21st century, we have seen Edward VIII abdicate for love. King Juan Carlos abdicate amid scandal. Japanese princesses leave royal life for personal freedom. Younger royals across Europe redefine their roles. The world has changed. The idea that blood alone determines destiny is weakening. Princess Leonor is growing up in a time when choice is power. That matters. 3. What would giving up the throne actually mean? Giving up the throne does not mean rebellion. It does not mean collapse. It means renunciation, regulated by Spain's constitution and parliament. Leonor could formally renounce her rights, step aside before accession, choose not to become queen, with parliamentary approval. Legally, it is possible. Constitutionally, it is manageable. Politically, it would be explosive. But the key point is this: she would not be breaking the system, she would be using it. That distinction matters in a democracy. 4. The psychological weight of being the future. Few people understand the pressure of being raised as a symbol rather than a self. Leonor is often described as serious, disciplined, reserved, mature beyond her years. These traits are praised, but they may also signal something else: adaptation to pressure. Growing up with constant scrutiny means limited privacy, limited spontaneity, limited mistakes. Royal duty allows no room for being lost, confused, or uncertain in public. The question becomes unavoidable: what does Leonor want, beyond duty? 5. The question of identity. Who is Leonor without the crown? Most people discover themselves through experimentation. Royals are denied that luxury. Leonor's identity has been framed as daughter of the king, princess of Asturias, future queen. But identity is not static. It evolves with education, travel, exposure, and reflection. Leonor has studied abroad, interacted with people from different cultures, and experienced life outside the palace bubble. Those experiences can awaken questions that no protocol answers. Who am I, if not queen? For a young woman raised in a democracy, that question is not rebellion. It is human. 6. Mental health and the silent cost of duty. Modern society speaks openly about mental health. Monarchy rarely does. Royal life includes lifelong public scrutiny, suppression of personal opinion, constant performance of composure, no true anonymity. For some, this is manageable. For others, it becomes suffocating. If Leonor ever decides that the psychological cost outweighs the symbolic value of the crown, stepping away would not be weakness. It would be honesty. History may judge such a choice more kindly than silent suffering. 7. Love, marriage, and autonomy. Royal marriages are never just personal. Any future partner of Leonor would be scrutinized for nationality, background, beliefs, public image, political implications. History shows that love often clashes with monarchy. If Leonor ever faced a choice between a life partner freely chosen and a crown that imposes limits, she would not be the first royal to choose love, and in modern eyes, she might be the first to be widely understood. 8. The burden of saving the monarchy. Perhaps the most dangerous pressure placed on Leonor is this: she is seen as the monarchy's future. That is an unfair burden. No individual, especially a young woman, should be responsible for repairing institutional damage, justifying inherited power, appeasing political divisions. If Leonor senses that the monarchy depends entirely on her sacrifice, she may ask a difficult question. Should an institution survive at the cost of one person's freedom? Walking away might be the most honest answer. 9. Feminism and the right to refuse. Leonor is often framed as a feminist symbol, a future queen in a modern democracy. But feminism also includes the right to choose, the right to refuse inherited roles, the right to define one's own life. If Leonor gives up the throne, some may call it betrayal. Others may see it as the ultimate feminist act, rejecting a role assigned at birth in favor of autonomy. History may eventually agree with the latter. 10. Public reaction, shock, sympathy, or respect. If Leonor chose to step aside, Spain's reaction would be complex. Some would feel shock, disappointment, fear for the monarchy. Others would feel respect for her honesty, sympathy for her burden, relief at her courage. In the long term, her decision might humanize the monarchy more than any ceremony ever could. 11. What happens after Leonor? If Leonor steps aside, Infanta Sofia becomes heir. The monarchy survives, but weakened. Republican debate intensifies. Leonor herself could live privately, work in diplomacy, culture, or humanitarian fields, become a respected global figure without a crown. Ironically, she might gain more freedom to serve society outside the monarchy than within it. 12. The difference between duty and destiny. Duty is imposed. Destiny is chosen. Leonor has been taught duty from birth. But destiny belongs to the individual. If she accepts the crown, it will be because she chose it, not because she was trapped by it. And if she refuses it, that choice will echo louder than any coronation. 13. Would Spain forgive her? Forgiveness implies wrongdoing. If Leonor steps away respectfully and constitutionally, she will not need forgiveness, only understanding. In a democracy, no one should be forced to sacrifice their life for symbolism alone. Spain may struggle with her decision, but history may thank her for it. 14. The monarchy's greatest test is not Leonor's choice, but its response. If Leonor gives up the throne, the true test will not be hers. It will be the monarchy's ability to respect individual autonomy, adapt without resentment, accept that tradition must coexist with freedom. An institution that cannot survive without forcing loyalty may not deserve survival. 15. So, would she give up the throne? The honest answer is this: we do not know. Leonor has shown a strong sense of duty, seriousness and discipline, respect for her role, but she is also young, educated, living in a world that values choice. She may accept the crown with conviction, or she may one day decide that her life belongs to herself. Both paths require courage. Conclusion: a crown that must be chosen, not assumed. Princess Leonor stands at a crossroads no royal before her faced so openly. She represents tradition, but she lives in an age of choice. She embodies duty, but she is also an individual. She may become queen, but only if she decides that the crown is worth the cost. If Leonor gives up the throne, it will not be an act of failure. It will be an act of agency. And perhaps that is the most modern royal act of all. Because in the end, the future of monarchy may not depend on who is born to rule, but on who freely chooses to do so. And if one day Leonor chooses herself over the crown, history may remember her not as the queen who never was, but as the woman who reminded the world that even crowns must bow to human choice.